Okay, boys. Third time's a charm, I think.
Fifth time's the charm.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really know why we had so many problems with the audio, but we're back, and somebody in the chat gives us a thumbs up or something if we're coming through okay this time on your end, which I really think we are. Because
I would suspect we are. Let's just run it, and then if somebody gets on and says otherwise, we'll go from there. But okay. Well, anyway.
All right.
Let's spin it.
Anyway, okay, cool. So this week on the Old Man Gaming Hour,
or so.
Yes. Tell you.
Half hour of just pre-gaming.
Yeah, we did a little bit of audio testing. But nevertheless, I'm Jake. That's Josh.
I'm Josh.
And this week we're going to talk about some more 4th edition articles that they put out, mainly talking about manifestations, and which are the
endless spells.
The endless spells. Yep. We also have Faction Train is mixed in there too. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, yep. Can't forget the old Faction Train.
We have the new some new Stormcast model to look at, and also the rules. Some more stuff about Spearhead.
Yep. Well, everything, I think. I don't think we've talked about Spearhead yet. So, and it's exciting. It looks pretty cool. So check us out on our social media. Besides what you're watching right now, let's get you to check us out on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. I mean, obviously here, follow us, click like, leave a comment, tell us how shitty our fucking podcast is, because it's obviously very shitty. But let's click all the buttons.
If you like shitty shows and bad audio,
this is one.
This is the home. This is your home.
This is the best of the shitty shows. So,
okay.
Anyways, let's talk about
outside
some stuff here.
Outside of Warhammer this week, anything for you?
Well, you can see I'm live from beautiful Lansing, Michigan, in the Ohana room. So that just means I've been working.
Yes, sir.
So outside of work, that's all I can talk about.
Yeah. Yes. Deli says, can't wait for this shitty show to be published.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is show 5 for us, and it's not gotten better. So we'll see. Eventually, maybe it will.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
I'm just glad you're here, Del.
I think it's mostly on my side, but whatever. I think we got it worked out.
We're not going to blame. What have you been working on outside of Warhammer?
Outside of Warhammer, real quick, I guess we had just got back from Florida Thursday, early morning.
Yeah.
But other than that, we did do some Star Wars Day things yesterday. Ava and I did.
Ooh.
So we played some Battlefront 2 and some Squadrons, and then we did play one struggle worth of Shatterpoint while we watched
just
Revenge of the Sith.
Worth of struggle.
Yeah, it was I mean, I had to look up all the rules, and it was a slow go, and it got to be about midnight last night, and she said, how many rounds is this? So we just played the one. She beat me, and we went to bed. But after the show, we do have some things going on. We got a U of M softball game. They're playing Ohio State, the girls up there. So we're going to head up there with my brother and his family.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think Adam was on a little bit in the first episode, the first fuck up, and he said that Michigan stomped them last night or yesterday. So hopefully they get some dubs.
Yeah, I think somebody said Michigan girls were ranked number 2. I don't know if that was in the country or just the Big Ten, but
I don't know.
Either way, I think they're supposed to be pretty good anyway, so that should be fun.
Okay.
And then directly after that, we're coming back down to Monroe and playing some co-ed softball, Ava and I, on our new co-ed team, first game of the season. So
yeah, you're staying over at Munson, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun. But that's all I got on outside of Warhammer.
Okay, what do you got going on the work desk this week?
On the work desk, nothing.
You never have anything going on your work desk.
I mean, there's
unless I'm like, here, put my models together.
there is. I mean, like, I do have stuff on the work desk. It's just I'm not currently working on it.
Sure.
It
sounds like you've been pretty busy. Though.
Well, I've been busy this last couple of weeks, but I mean, even with 4th edition coming up, I know you're still struggling on like what you actually want to play in 4th.
Yeah, I don't know.
I clearly will probably play.
We won't know until we see the indexes.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's I don't know what to get excited for. I don't know if it's like, should I just start working out some Stormcast stuff, but then you don't know which list to build because you don't have all the stuff. I mean, I do have enough Flesh Eater stuff just to do whatever there, but I also have those the Morbeg Knights on the desk that I started to paint before our last tournament, and they're just sitting there because I don't know, like, I don't know, I just haven't had a motivation to get those painted up, I guess.
Well, they're going to be in your Spearhead. So when if we ever do a Spearhead thing, they'll be in that. So
I'll at least have to paint 3 of them, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess other than nothing being on my work desk, and have you done anything? I know you were busy with work this week.
Yeah. I mean, I've been busy at work. I've been working on some models. I got models all over the desk I have up here, and I brought some orcs. I've been torn about what I want to play in our RTT or RRT. No, it's RTT, isn't it? I wrote it wrong. But anyways, so I've been torn. I've been thinking about Iron Draws. I've been thinking about Cruel Boys. I also kind of thought about Sharks. So I don't know. I got a huge collection of sharks now that me and Ethan have been acquiring. And then just before the show, I told you maybe I would play Lizardmen.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think like every day I talk to you, you're like, I'm going to play this other army. I'm going to play this army. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, like, that's why I mean, like, it's so hard to figure out, like, what you think you might want to play, because you and I both do the same thing. We go, we'd like to play this. However, the rules are just better for this, or whatever, right? Like, clearly you want to play something competitive.
Game of season 3, or of 3rd edition. So, I mean, it's like, fuck it. Let's just do it. So I think I'm probably going to end up playing Iron Jaws and getting smashed, but
who knows, man? I mean,
it's for fun.
Yeah. Never know. I mean, you could just go into some good matchups and it'd be easy cake games.
We'll see. I mean, I always end up playing Mike, and he always ends up beating me with those stupid dwarves.
He already said he was going to bring those damn dwarves, but we'll see if we can't take him down this time.
Another thing on the work desk is Adam came in clutch. He ordered our jerseys, our team jerseys. So hopefully we're going to have those by the RTT. So,
man. Fuck yeah, that's going to be cool. If we can get
shout
those.
out to Adam for that. Too bad he was on the first run and he isn't on this one. Because I would sing his praise, but we'll do it secretly anyways. No recent events, so we got some upcoming events. Just our RTT.
Yep.
1 month out, right?
1 month away from today is actually our first ever event we're going to run. Again, we are capped at 20 right now, but if you would like to get on the wait list, because we did have a couple drops the last couple weeks here, so if you want to get on the wait list, please email me or us at oldmangaming, all one word, 734 at gmail.com. You should be able to find that email address pretty easily through our Discord and stuff. So just email us. We'll get you on a wait list, and in case we have any drops, we can get you in. Just so you know, if you're in the area and want to play in this tournament, it is only $10. I don't think we mentioned that before on the stream, but $10 paid at the store at our house.
Painting's
games.
Not required.
Painting's not required. Simple, to the point.
We're just having a little tourney.
Yep. The owner of the shop has kicked in a little bit of a cool thing too for us. If you want to pay an extra $5 when you register the morning of, he'll put your name down for pizza and pop that he's going to order for us for lunch.
Cool.
So that's kind of neat. Cool. So you don't have to run out and get anything, but
there's food around though if you did want to.
Yeah, there's a McDonald's and a McDonald's and a Wendy's directly across the street too.
Right there.
If that's the
Right
case.
there. Yeah.
So what I did want to touch on a couple of things about our us hosting a actual GT. I did talk with the venue this week, and we are locked in for February 2025. I don't know which weekend is best for us yet. We're gonna have to discuss that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, it's gonna be February 2025. We're gonna keep it at 40 players, I think, for this first one. Mainly just because 40 sets of terrain and 40 mats are hard to acquire. So we're gonna do that. Whatever, or 20 sets, I guess, for the first one. But as we collect and stuff, we'll hopefully have bigger events in the future. The venue did confirm a limited menu for us that are just selections off their normal menu. So I was happy about that. Things like burgers and sandwiches and pizza and wings and stuff like that. So, other than that,
awesome.
I think the only thing we really had to nail down was some extra banquet tables that we needed for that. But I think, we can do that.
I forgot I have to text Aunt Jenny and see what she's got going on.
Yeah. So anyways, once we get the tables, like a thumbs up on where we're going to get all the tables from, we'll just have to set a date with them at the venue, and then we'll be locked in. Yeah,
love it. Excited about that.
Yep.
It's kind of a big jump. One RTT, and then boom, let's do a GT.
Well,
it kind of fell into our hands. So there's no reason not to.
Still, the hope is to run a few more RTTs at the store before that would happen anyway. Couple more this year, I'm sure. And probably one in January to start the year off, and then go right into our GT.
Yeah. So
again, let's do some shout outs for the sponsors of our group here, because a lot of the stuff wouldn't be possible without these two companies. I know Andy over at Gray Matter Games, always a fantastic dude. Every time we've talked to him, he's helping us out a lot with our first event here. Got some prize support coming from him. You can find them at graymattergaming.org. Find all your mats and objective markers.
Mats that we're going to use.
Yep. He did us a favor. He didn't have any vendoring things going on this month, so he loaned out some mats for us that we're going to use because we didn't have enough, and gave us some prize support. So kudos to Andy and the guys over at Gray Matter. The next one, I just talked with her a couple days ago, Michelle Anderson. She runs an Etsy shop, T for Its Treasures. You can find her there.
Yeah, well done.
Nailed it. You can find those links for their shops in our show notes after the stream. She confirmed with us that we are going to get, let me look it up real fast, because it was pretty amazing. We are going to get, as
I haven't heard about this yet.
Yep, this is breaking news, that's why I'm reading it verbatim. She says, okay, out of the blue, she texted me back on the 2nd of March and said, I'm going to send you 3 sets of 4th edition objective markers. And
Nice.
3 sets of wood measuring sticks.
That's
along
awesome.
with a handful
Those
of
things are
stickers
cool.
and business cards, whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, I mean, 3 of each. She was trying to base it off of our size of our tournament. Told her we had 20 players. So she thought, well, I'll send 3 of each of my main 2 items, stickers, business cards. Pretty awesome of her to get her name out there. I think that's, I know Andy over at Gray Matter was doing that for a lot of events. He was going around and he'd give away a mat and objective markers and those magnetic movement trays he's got and all that for prize support. So she's following right in tow with Andy, and kudos for her for giving us some prize support we can hand out, and that'll help get her her name out there too. Yeah, she makes real good quality stuff too, boys. It's a little bit different from Andy's stuff, which is mostly the neoprene things. Michelle, does the same type of stuff, but she has the clear plastic objective markers that she makes instead of the neoprene ones. And then her measuring sticks I'm sure you guys seen them on the internet before. They're just the like the laser cut tray
like
of different sizes.
3 inches, the 4 inches.
Yep, all housed in a case that's magnetic. So very cool.
I haven't gotten
cool
one yet. I plan on getting one. Nick picked one up. He got our like name on it and everything. Yep. It looks really cool.
Yep, so. She does custom orders too in case you guys want to have your club name on them or your name on them or whatever, so she can etch that in there. So very cool stuff.
All right. So if you want, like, subscribe, and follow, leave us a comment. But let's get into the main topic, which is more 4th edition.
Yep. 17 minutes in, not too bad. No. Yeah, so main topic stuff. We'll have to run through this sometime in the next 2 hours.
A little quicker than what? Yeah, a little quicker than what we thought.
Yeah,
we usually do. But
with the issues this morning on the audio is holding us up a little bit, making us run a little bit long. Not for you guys now on this stream, but for us anyway. Okay, yeah. Let's do this, and let me. Oh wow, I wasn't even prepared. Since we had the issues earlier, I'm going to pull up the website right now. Yep. So let's bring this boy.
Sorry, you get to see our sweet decal there for a little bit extra time. Can't go wrong with that.
There we go. Got it. Nailed it. Okay, so what we're going to talk about right now, first thing on the list, the new Stormcast Eternals Prosecutor model.
Which is sexy AF.
There he is, or there she is. Is it a she? Probably she, right?
It's hard to tell.
I think the breastplate on those
looks like female armor.
Yeah. But anyhow, fuck me, right? Jesus.
Yeah, it's freaking sweet.
I mean, if you guys remember what the old model looks like, this is fantastic. If you compare them.
Yeah. I mean, I like the old one, but I mean, this one is freaking.
I mean, the old one still had those like mechanical starburst wings that were all like just straight pokey bits, right?
Yeah.
These have like feathers, and then they have like this flame coming off the feathers, which is pretty sweet. It gives that
it's
whole
fantastic
like
looking.
that Stormcast energy or whatever that they have. Now, I will say that this particular one, this is obviously the what are the hero or the leader or whatever, right, of the unit.
Yeah.
With the big crown, mohawk, and the trident instead of just a spear. That thing is so dope. Tridents are cool,
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that they use like you're kind of jumping off of a piece of stone to give it instead of flight bases or light flight stands.
Yeah.
I saw I can't remember who I was watching. It must have been it might have been on Warhammer Weekly. They were talking about there's some guys in 40K in the Sisters of Battle that use like their those little whatever those are called, purity seals or whatever, and they have like some super long purity seals that hang down, and they use those. That would be kind of cool too. But this is better. Anything is better than those freaking clear flight bases.
Well, I
Flight
mean, to
stands.
be fair, I know what you're talking about, but the old prosecutors didn't have flight stands. They had those purity things.
Oh, they had this
Yeah,
the
but
things
the
that
problem with them were like there was like 2 connection points on those little skinny scroll things that were hanging off them.
So they snapped off.
Well, I mean, I didn't snap any of mine. I'm sure someone has done it before, but they're like bobbleheads. You know, they shake all the time because they're really wiggly.
You hit the table.
Hopefully this sculpt will fix that, because it looks. I mean, even though you got 1 connection point, at least it's like the whole foot next to the next to the stone piece.
It looks pretty stable.
So the alternate builds here are shown here. So this particular one has got a spear and a more helmeted head, I guess.
Yeah.
And also 1 foot off of a piece of stone or whatever that is, statue part. That one looks a little less sturdy, but obviously more sturdy than the purity seal things. By far. So that's one alternative build. The other one here is another. Actually, I like this pose. The I'm about to chuck my spear at you pose.
Yeah, like a javelin type of thing. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So I think all 3 of these builds. I think the next one is back to the trident, the hero of the unit, champion of the unit or whatever. So yeah, real cool. I think they do have
can't go wrong.
A couple of rules with them. One being this ruination chamber. Once per turn is a reaction picked when you're a target of a non-core ability. So this is pretty wild, I think. So the effect of this passive ability that you have is you make a resistance roll of a d6, and on a 4-up, that ability has no effect on this unit.
Seems strong.
4-up ability ignore. Not spell ignore. Ability ignore. Yeah, pretty freaking cool if you ask me. I mean, like 50-50 chance to say, I don't care what you just did to me.
Fuck your rules.
Yeah, that's a 4-up fuck your rule thing. Now, as far as it being effective on a lot of stuff, it's only on non-core abilities. So if core is a keyword in an ability, like that would affect this model, you can't ignore the core things. But if someone had an ability that was about to affect this unit, you can 4-up ignore it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, like for instance, probably something like a Bellacore. If Bellacore was going to shut you down.
Yep. Or or like what we've seen already, Hand of Dust.
Hand of Dust.
50-50 shot. Oh, I picked the wrong hand. Oh, wait. I'm going to
there's more.
4-up ignore this shit. So, yeah, it's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That'll be popular for these guys. They'll see play because of that.
Well,
and they're cool
probably
models.
Most likely fast.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. We didn't get the war scrolls for them, which was kind of weird because they've done that before with models. So we don't know how fast they are, but I'm sure they're probably a 12-inch move, 10 or 12-inch move.
Well, right
whatever.
here, this ability, Heralds of Righteousness gives them an extra die, so they're 3d6 on their charge.
Yep. Cool. So they're fast. They're going to be able to charge farther. Who knows if they have some kind of like impact hits or something else on their scroll as an ability. But either way, if they don't, I mean, they still get 2 really strong things. So they get 3d6 charge and 4-up ability ignore. So, yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. I like them. Gonna have to get some. Well, actually, these will come in the starter box. So you probably get 3 of these in the launch box.
Yeah, just a unit. They'll be in the Spearhead.
Yep. All right. So one of the main articles for at least competitive play that we like to cover stuff on is the manifestations, which include endless spells and invocations. And the faction train article. So, as we can see, so manifestations is the new, keyword or whatever that all of those things are categorized under.
Yeah, the spells and the invocations.
Yeah, so but before, you used to have to pay a price on like bringing endless spells into your list. Yeah. So now they broke all the endless spells up into groups, and they'll be free to take one of the lores. So they're broke up into 5 different lores, and you'll have to pick one of the lores to bring in your army as far as being able to cast out.
Right. Yeah. And so that is in addition to a regular spell lore.
Yeah.
I thought that each wizard was going to have to pick a spell lore. And then I thought if you wanted, you could take an invocation spell lore, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like you're picking a spell lore for your army, you're picking an invocation, and then you just have all this stuff.
But you still have to have a wizard to cast an invocation or a manifestation. So,
yeah. Or a priest to do they didn't actually show any of the prayers, I don't think, but those are army specific. So, and they did say you will have the option to take one of these that we're going to show you, or an army specific one if your army has that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, some armies did have some of their own. They're not going to get rid of them. They're just going to lump them into their own lore. So you would take those or some of the universal ones or whatever. Right. They did break them down for us. It looks like the different lores. Forbidden Power is going to have the Shards of Valagar, Laoshan the Soul Seeker, Horrorghast, and the Soul Scream Bridge. So that's like the Forbidden Power. Let me scroll down then.
Yeah, scroll down just a smidge.
So there's the Forbidden Power grouping.
Yeah,
that's the lore you can take if you want one of those spells. You'll have access to all of those. We don't have the rules for any of them, but we do have the groupings. Well, I guess we got one.
A couple rules.
Yeah, which we can talk about. But
we have the Quicksilver Swords.
Quicksilver Swords. They move 8. They have health. Interesting.
Yeah, those are in the. I don't know. You're getting ahead of yourself a little bit. They're in the Arthur Rott machineries, so they're with the cogs.
Oh yeah.
Pendulum.
Let's do that first. So the other groupings we have the Morbid Conjuration consists of the Purple Sun, Gravetide, Maelstrom, and Soul Snare Shackles. Aether wrought machineries are the cogs, the Quicksilver swords, and the Aether Void pendulum. Primal energy is the burning head, the Emerald Life Swarm, and Ravenex Gnashing Jaws. And then Twilight sorceries will have the spell portals, Geminids of Ulgish, and Prismatic Palisade. So those are all of the universal endless spells. Those are all the groupings for them. However, yes,
there's
go ahead.
There's also the Kronspine, and he is going to be. It seems like you're going to be able to bring him. Must be for free, and he will take the place of one of these.
Yeah, so
universal.
The Kronspine Incarnate is his own manifestation lore, if you want to view it like that. So I guess that's a little interesting, right? Because before, well, without seeing his rules, the way he functioned before in a lot of armies is you'd bring him, right? And then you'd feed him endless spells so he would never die. In this case, guess what you can't do?
Can't feed him your own because you can't have your own.
Yeah. And I mean, unless there's some armies that can bring multiple lores of things, whatever, which we don't know, which would make sense if they could. Some of the big, heavy spellcasting armies or whatever, like Tzeentch or maybe Seraphon. But as it states right now, you bring him, you don't bring your own endless spells to constantly feed him. So is he less powerful then? I think so. Will his rules be the same? I doubt it. I think they'll change him up probably some to fit with 4th edition things.
Yeah, I think that he'll be different. He'll be more like a spell. And so the way they've got spells working, according to the article here, is they're going to work more like units. So they're going to have health, as we'll see here on the Quicksilver swords. They're going to have saves, including a ward save in the keywords there. They're going to have movement, and they're going to fight in the fight phase. Or if they're ranged, they'll probably fight in the shooting phase or something like that.
Yeah, essentially,
they'll have that banishment number down there at the bottom, which is the number that you'll be able to roll to get rid of it. So, but if you can't banish it, let's say your wizards are dead or your priests are dead or whatever, then you just go out there and you beat on it like a regular old unit.
I think the idea of that in the article was that the spells, that these things became manifestations, like spells became physical things on the board.
Yeah.
So if they're physical things, why can't you kill them? Well, now you can, right? You could just go up and stabby. But yeah, it's cool. So in light of that, let's look at the Quicksilver Swords example. So this one particular one moves 8 inches. It's got a health of 6. Banishment 7+, and a save of 5+. As you said, it does have a ward save also of a 6+. So this is 6 health and a 5-up, 6-up. Not
strong.
Not immediately killable by chaff units, I don't think.
Yeah.
Things
with Rend will do it, but again, they cut some of the Rend out of the game, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
You're going to make 33% of your saves, and you're going to have a shot at staying on the board with just your ward saves. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, I will say, in like a TLDR of now that endless spells have health, they're going to get shot off the board immediately if you have shooting.
Yeah, most likely. They're going to get shot at. Unless there's a better target, but then again, that's going to keep you from getting your main stuff shot at. So
yeah, sure, it's a deterrent for sure. Now, I guess we'll look at the Quicksilver Swords and see if it's something that you want to actually remove from the board or not. It has a melee weapon, so it's going to have to be in combat range. 12 attacks, 3 to hit, 3 to wound, rend 1 damage, and crit mortal. So, I mean, 12 attacks is nothing to shake a stick at, right? It's like, it's quite a bit on 3s and 3s.
Yeah, I would say it's a little better than the previous version, because the previous version, you would roll 12 dice, but you'd only do mortals on 6s.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if it was 5s or 6s or whatever. But regardless, this is freaking cool because it can just do damage too. Like the swords don't have to mortal you to do damage.
Oh, right.
So
yeah, you're going to get your crit mortals anyway, so they kept that same thing, right? If you roll 6s, you're going to get mortals. But, I mean, you're also, the rest of the hits going through, you get hit and wounds and do 1 damage with 1 rend, so that's not nothing. I mean, you may be able to chuck this into a unit of, like, a 10-man unit of whatever screen you got.
Just a chaff or whatever.
And you could kill the whole unit.
I mean,
theoretically you could. I mean
12 dice is,
might not, but I mean you could, or severely punish the thing.
So you're 8, and then 2/3 of that for wounds. I mean, is
about 5 or 6.
So you're going to do 5 wounds, and maybe 1 or 2 will be crits. And then the other key thing is the passive ability, the dancing blades.
Yep. The effect of the dancing blades, wards cannot be made for damage points inflicted by this manifestation's attacks. Turns off fucking wards. That's wow. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So you just chuck this at something and you go, well, if you don't make your armor saves, you're dead. I mean, literally, like, what if you chuck this at a hero? Like an infantry hero,
out like a little wizard.
Yeah.
You could take out a little wizard or something with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and you're not risking any of your stuff. You can cast it again later. I mean, we don't know what it casts on. There's no casting roll.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know if each individual one will have a casting value. But it's not on the scroll, so you'd almost wonder if maybe there's a universal spellcasting cost for this. For like say you take like if you take the spell lore where Quicksilver Swords is the Aether Wrought Machineries, maybe that particular lore says, hey, you need a 7+ to bring it out or whatever. Unless it's the banishment value. I mean, that could be the same thing too, right?
Could be.
Because that's how the old spells worked anyways. If you wanted to unbind a spell, you had to roll over the casting value of it, right?
Yeah.
So, might likely be the same thing as whatever the banishment value is, but we'll see.
But we don't know.
Not sure yet. So it's very cool. I think those will be. Here's the thing with endless spells right now. Endless spells right now barely exist, right? Because
outside of certain armies.
Well, but I'm just saying in general, if outside of the spell casting armies that are going to do it all the time, you may take one in a list,
right?
Because it costs points, and
it's just like a filler thing.
You only take it if like your list was like 1910 points, and you can't put another unit in there or whatever. So you're like, well, I'll take this 50-point spell, and I'll still get a triumph bid. It's like a might as well thing. But now, guess what, boys? We're going to be painting a lot of endless spells.
Yeah,
because if you take one of the lores that has 3 or 4 of the spells, you have to have them all painted up in case you want to use them.
Yeah, and I mean, you're gonna paint the ones that are for the group that you need. So
yeah, sure, yeah.
I mean, pretty much.
All right. Yep. Josh's gonna step away for a sec. But let's take this time to remind you guys to go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe, follow us on social medias, and join the Discord. All the links to all of our social medias will be in the show notes after the show. They're on YouTube, so you guys can check that out. We're going to get into the rules for the manifestations next. So While Josh is taking care of some business here, we will start going through some of the rules. All manifestations have these rules. So models can move through manifestations, but cannot end a move on them. So that's the first rule of manifestations. I think this was the same thing before, right? You can move through
rules.
them. Units can finish a charge move within a half inch of them, and they can be picked as the target of enemy abilities like shoot or fight. So, of course, since they're physical manifestations now, and they have health, there's got to be a way for you to fight them, so you can charge them now.
Yep.
They can be damaged or destroyed, but they don't count as a destroyed unit for battle tactics or abilities. So, I mean, like, you just can't kill an endless spell if it's got 1 health left and say, "Oh, I killed a unit." It's not a unit,
Right?
so it's a manifestation. You're just doing it to get it off the board. They can only use core abilities or abilities on their war scroll. They can't use commands. They can't be affected by friendly abilities unless they specifically affect manifestations. So,
so no all-out attacking your
yeah.
Quicksilver swords and hit not twos.
They can just fight,
Nothing like that,
and you can't give them commands or anything. So, they also cannot contest or control objectives,
right?
Which is fine, but they can block. So,
and that's the beauty, and you know, I've used that kind of thing against you many times, where I've kind of set up Geminids, and I don't care what they're doing; they're just blocking you from being able to bring a big ass dragon into my units.
Yep, you put them around.
You can go through them, but you have to be able to go all the way through.
Yep, you can't land on them, so they're very good at taking up board space, especially if you got them near terrain pieces or whatever, so you can zone out an area of the board where you don't want something big to come in and either take the objective from you or fight you in a weird way. There's 2 types of manifestations, moving and static. So moving is the new wording for the predatory endless spells that we used to have.
Right.
The moving manifestations, you'll typically need to set them up 9 inches away, and then you'll need to retreat to move out of combat from them.
Which is interesting. Mortal wounds.
Yep. And we already know that if you retreat, you'll take D3 mortals for retreating. So typically it cannot be set up within 9 inches of enemy units when they're summoned, and they can't move in the movement phase after being set up. So
they have summoning sickness like magic.
Yeah, I mean, right. So you're going to summon them on the board, and they're going to stay put for a turn, which kind of feels bad if you're going into a shooting army. Like I said, you put your manifestations out, and then it's your opponent's turn, and they get shot off the board. Maybe. Like, if it's powerful enough and you set it up in a spot where it's clear that you're going to go pick off one of their heroes on your next turn or something, they'll have to either defend against it or shoot it off or something, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that does feel bad, but I don't know if they only move in your movement phase. They didn't say that. Like, previously, they moved in every hero phase. So,
well,
that might be a thing.
Could still stay. Yeah, it could still stay, but it almost kind of feels like if they're basically a unit of your army now that it has fighting and stuff, that you wouldn't be able to stick those things wherever you wanted, like in your opponent's phase.
Right.
So
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll wait and see. I mean, we're in a vacuum still. Then the static manifestations. Yep. So you can ignore them when you're setting up your units, and you can move within 3 of them freely. You can move away from them freely. No issues there. So that's different than the moving ones. You can't use any moving abilities with them. Obviously, you put down the prismatic palisade, which I think is going to get shown next, and it stays there just like it did before.
Yep.
And then they typically you have more freedom for where you place them when you're summoning them. Like you could put them right in front of somebody.
Yeah, you won't
I'm sure
have
there will be certain ones with special rules, but I mean, you won't have to be like, oh, I have to be 9 inches away and things like that. So.
Right. So, yep. So those will still be, like line of sight blocking or movement reducing and that kind of thing, like they were before.
Yeah.
So
like
here,
the shackles or the walls and things.
So the example here that they show us for static manifestations is the palisades. So right off the rip, move is dash because it does not move. Right. It has 8 health, banishment of 7+, and a save of 4+, with a ward of 6+. So a little harder to remove, but it doesn't move around. So
yeah, it's strong.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It does have a passive ability called Blinding Light. The effect of this is this manifestation cannot be targeted by shooting attacks. Okay, that's good, right? In addition, a unit cannot be targeted by shooting attacks if it's impossible to draw a straight line from the model in the attacking unit to the model in the target unit without that line passing across this manifestation. So it's line of sight blocking terrain, basically, that you're going to put out that you can't shoot through it.
Yeah.
So
good. I mean, you just put that right in front of your opponent's wizards. Or I mean, not wizards, but shooters, archers.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we don't know the range. And maybe there is no range. Maybe there's not range.
That'd be pretty crazy.
Since the moving ones, it said you had to place, when you summon them, 9 inches away from units. The static ones,
I don't know, man. That would be crazy because, like right off the bat, like first turn, I'm like, okay, oogity boogity. I throw this wall in front of your guys. You can't move because you have to walk all the way around this wall.
Yeah.
Like you could do some pretty sketchy things with that. I feel like there has to be a range, and again, probably it's going to be in the lore instructions for casting it or whatever. Not in the lore there, but like the spell lore.
Yeah.
It'll probably be like you have to roll this much and it goes this far. And it'll be like
maybe, yeah. Let's hope that because this would be insane. Because, like, if you, let's just say, for instance, you say, okay, my Flesh Eater Court army, just to give an example, is susceptible to shooting. Just is, always has been, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take the spell lore that has more static manifestations in it than any other lore, because I just need to place stuff in front of my opponent to where it negates some of their ability to fucking shoot me or run at me when I want to run at them or whatever, right? Just block stuff off and go, well, you can't do that thing that you want to do. Seems really strong if it's unlimited range. But we'll see. I mean, like,
so
I can...
Palisade...
Yeah. Palisade's good.
It comes with Geminids and with the spell portal in the Twilight sorceries. So not a lot else there that is going to be like
no, but
still, I mean, those are good spells. I mean, provided they have similar rules as they do now.
The Palisade combo with the current portal could be real strong.
Just throw that portal on the other side of it and then just cast through it, but they can't hit you back.
Yeah, seems cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens there.
Yeah, your 30 block of Fusiliers. Can't see me.
Well,
or at least can't see some stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
I like the. I think we've said this more often than not. I think all the changes we're getting, like 90% positive, right?
Yeah, I can't think of anything particularly that I don't like. I know there's been a few things that some of the other YouTubers and stuff that I watch have said they weren't in love with. But for the most part, I think everyone so far has really liked all the changes, which is crazy because we thought we had a perfect game. Like, I mean, we're like, oh, third.
We're finally balanced.
Like, this
stuff
game's awesome.
Finally is like,
everything's great.
Nothing's overpowered and whatever. And now we're like, oh shit, this rule is way better.
Yeah, this is super cool. Can't wait to try it.
Yeah. So, let's look at some faction train.
Okay.
They do give us a little bit of example here, but the faction train now has health and saves, just like manifestations do. But they can also be attacked and shot, right? So, I don't know how I feel about that, I guess. I mean, like, it always felt like me with my faction train that it was a safe place to garrison a hero in.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I mean, you're still going to get garrison rules or whatever the rules for that kind of thing is, but I mean, someone can just shoot my faction train and kill it.
Yeah, cannonballs to the dome.
Yeah, crazy.
I wonder, though. I imagine the guy inside would be safe if you get shot if you shoot the garrison.
Well, yeah, because you're gonna have to declare your target. But still, I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll look at the Magmech Battleforge here for Fire Slayers for an example and see what kind of thing we're talking about as far as the new terrain rules go. So this example they give us, the feature has 8 health. It does not move. You can't control objectives with it if you happen to place it on an objective or whatever, right?
I believe it said somewhere in the next group that you're not allowed in the tree song. You're not allowed to place it wholly within 18 of the caster, more than 3 inches from enemy units, objectives, and other terrain features. So I suspect that you won't be able to place that inside of 3 of any of that stuff. Just like before.
Gotcha. Sure. Okay. Well, that makes more sense then. So, anyways, it doesn't have control value, so whatever. It does, however, have a 3-up save, which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's strong.
Now,
and I believe it has a ward save too.
Ward of 6. So 3-up, 6-up, pretty good for a train feature to defend itself.
Yep.
This particular one has the following features that we still don't know the rules for, but the train feature has cover, impassable, and obscuring. So I'm going to guess cover is the new garrison type of rule.
You can't garrison the battle.
Actually, you can't. You're right. So maybe there's a different thing. But cover always gives you +1 save, right?
Right.
That's what it did before. If you're within it, yep. Impassable, so you can't land on it, and obscuring, line of sight blocking.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
Probably. That
makes sense. The basic thing.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, that's speculation.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like that's pretty good speculation.
I think that's probably pretty good. It has 2 abilities. Let's start with the start of any turn ability, the Molten Blessing. You declare this, you pick a Fire Slayer's Priest with this within the combat range of this train feature to be the target.
Yep.
The effect is add 1 to chanting rolls for the target for the rest of the turn. In addition, the target can use the Unbind ability this turn as if he was wizard with power level 1. So he gets an Unbind.
That's pretty awesome.
And he's +1 to chanting. Yeah, fantastic for Fire Slayer's Priest, right?
Yep.
Now, the other ability, once per battle, in your hero phase, you can use the ability Spending the Forge. You declare this with picking a Fire Slayer's Priest within the train feature's combat range of to power the Forge. The effect is heal D3 for each friendly Fire Slayer's unit on the battlefield. Pretty hot.
That's freaking awesome.
Once this ability has been used, this train feature cannot use the Molten Blessing ability for the rest of the battle. So, I mean, you're only going to use this at a point of the game where you need the healing on all your units, or on most of your units or whatever, to be efficient using this. Because I still like having your priest be able to unbind
is really good. Yeah.
And plus one of chanting rolls is going to be fantastic for the way that the new chanting works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very cool. The keywords, obviously, faction train, in case that has any special rules for faction train.
I'm sure there are. Yeah.
It's got a ward of 6, and it belongs to the Fire Slayers. So, pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, nice thing.
I like that.
What we have for the Sylvaneth is a little bit different because they have they got train features that they can bring onto the board, right?
Yeah,
so they have this. Yeah, so they show here the Lord of the Deepwood has a spell for it's called Tree Song, which they had before. It costs 6, or it's a 6 to cast, and they declare it by picking a Sylvaneth wizard to cast the spell. Cast it on a 2d6. The effect is if there are fewer than 3 friendly Awakened Wildwoods. I'm sure that's their terrain feature name, right?
Yeah, it is. Which is, we'll continue, and I'll say something after that. Go ahead.
So if there's fewer than 3 on the battlefield, you can set up an Awakened Wildwood wholly within 18 of the caster and more than 3 inches away from enemy units, objectives, and other terrain features. If there are already 3 Awakened Wildwoods on the battlefield, heal 3 for each friendly Awakened Wildwood. So this is their way to
That's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way that they're going to bring on more Awakened Wildwoods. And if they already have them all, they can still cast a spell. It's not a dead spell. They just get to heal their terrain features, right? So that's pretty sweet.
Which, I mean, since they can take damage now, that's huge. Because, I mean, a lot of their abilities as far as Sylvaneth go through their trees.
Yep.
And so they're going to want them on the table, and you're going to want to get them off. And so having 3 on the table and then being able to heal them, so like they're doing damage to them, and you're like, nope, fuck off, I'm going to keep them live, is huge. But what I was going to say is it's really cool that there's a maximum of 3 now. Like, you don't need to buy like fucking 38 Awakened Wildwoods, because, I mean, you can just basically cast unlimited ones. It's a max of 3. It says right here. Now, there might be some other kind of weird, rule or something where they let you bring in 1 or 2 more, but at least there's going to be a maximum amount, which is it's actually really cool. I like that a lot.
So I wonder how that's going to work now, I guess, because with Sylvaneth now, they had their train feature on the board. They could summon trees, but also they could pick existing terrain features to be Awakened Wildwoods.
Yeah, so
I wonder if that goes away.
They were not Awakened Wildwoods, though. They were
you know what I'm talking about.
There were some kind of other places of power or something.
Yeah, something else that they could teleport through. I wonder if they keep that, or they just now get trees.
Yeah,
I guess maybe they could keep both.
You never know. That's the beauty. I think it would be fine to keep both. I didn't think it was that powerful.
You can turn them off by standing next to the things or whatever. It's fine.
Right.
Okay, so that's how manifestations are going to work, and some of the rules for the terrain features. So all in all, I think pretty cool. Manifestations are going to be alive and well in the new edition.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think they'll be used obviously way more since you get them for free. So we'll see. So next thing that we were going to talk about. I just want to touch base with mention that Dark Oath Battle Tome came out for 3rd edition. Yep. We're not going to talk about it in this video. We wanted to save a little bit of time, and it's going to be gone in a month anyways. But the Battle Tome is there. The rules are available to be downloaded. So, I mean, feel free to check them out. If you want us to do a show and talk about that, we will talk about that.
Yep.
just let us know in the chat, or not in the chat, but in the YouTube comments, and we will take the time sometime this week, and we'll just go through all the units and some of the rules for it. But we feel like since we're kind of at the tail end of 3, let's just let it be. And
I want to say that this feels like, well, number one, it's a Battletome supplement, kind of like the Iron Jaws one we got a little while ago.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
However, with this one coming out now, it feels like they probably are behind schedule on releasing things, because I don't know why you would release anything new with a new tome and a new box set a month or two ahead of your whole release when you revamp the entire game. So obviously this was written of a while back, and they just hadn't pushed it out to us yet. So realistically, if anybody now bought the Darth Oak box, built the box, painted the whole box, and now you have the rules, you might play this. But I mean, like, if you're not a super fan of Dark Oath, one, you don't have the models, and if you wanted to, now that you see the rules in the PDF that they provided, chances are you get them painted up and on the board into an event to play before 4th edition comes out. Small chance, right? So
low.
So we're not going to cover that unless you guys really want us to go over it. But it is notable that the rules are out now for the game, or for that.
And they may be seen in the last few 3.0 tournaments. So
all right.
Let's talk about Spearhead.
Yeah, other main topic. I think we're super excited for this. Maybe not so much like to really play it a ton, but the implication. Oh wow. Implications. Syllables are tough.
I'm the one that's been up all night.
Yeah. Implications of this are fantastic for new players. I mean, like, literally, whoever came up with this is a fucking genius.
Yeah, it's really smart. I like
it. So Spearhead is the new, if nobody knows, I guess, Spearhead is the new Fast and Furious game mode for AoS. It's going to have 4th edition core rules, but like nothing else. They stripped everything away other than core rules, and that's what you get. And the Spearhead Battle Pack, I guess, or whatever they are going to release with it. But it's going to be real cool. So it's designed around the boxes that are coming out now for armies, called Spearhead, obviously, and existing.
Like they'll start collecting boxes.
Well, the existing Vanguard boxes, they said, are going to be the boxes that they'll have the rules for. So if you have a Vanguard box, or even if you have the models that come in a Vanguard box or Spearhead box, you can play this game. It is a box versus a box game. You don't need anything else. You know, you don't have to buy extra units or
right. You don't need any other models.
You don't even have to list build.
Yeah.
So, boy.
Right. Yep. I mean.
What time do we need to be ready?
I'll probably leave at 11. Okay. So, Ava just came down and was like, what time do I need to be ready to go for our Michigan softball?
She's fired up about that softball game.
Yep. So anyways, so we got a real simple game to get into, right? Which is a stripped down version of AoS 4.0. Which is really cool, because I think explain to me how someone would get into AoS right now if they walked into a store.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I wanted to teach someone, for instance, maybe you, how to play AoS, I would have to give you a couple, like an army. And I have a lot, but maybe you're playing against a buddy and you both decide, oh, let's play this game. You're going to buy the starter box, or you may like one of these armies better and you're going to buy it and you're going to play against each other, but they're not necessarily point-wise balanced in the regular game. They're not really, made to necessarily go head-to-head, and maybe, one guy decides, oh, he really likes this unit, so he adds a couple units.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a complicated a game right now. But now with this new version, like you said, they stripped down a lot of the rules. They made a couple rules easier, which we'll talk about throughout this conversation. But I mean, it's designed specifically to go head to head, and that doesn't necessarily mean the points are even, because they're not always even. Some of these things, according to the article, have like maybe more points or tougher, like elite type units, and other ones might have more chaff type units. But
that's true.
They have rules
Yeah.
in the army to kind of balance that out, which we'll talk about.
They balance the boxes
really cool.
with the rules, right?
Right.
Instead of making a rule set and then you having to adapt your army to the rule set, which is it's a smart thing for them to do, because new players now will only have to buy a single box. What does it retail for? Like
their buddy will have to
$120 or something like that, or
something like that, give or take.
120, 130.
In Europe, it's like 90.
But I mean, like the how do I want to say this? The way you got into playing Age of Sigmar in the past was an expensive undergoing, right?
Sure.
Like if you wanted to buy an army, you would start collecting the models, and you wouldn't be able to play a full-fledged game until you got 2,000 points worth of models, which all of the boxes, like the single boxes, would be like, or a combo army box would be less than 1,000 points. So you at least needed 2 of those, plus some more.
Right.
You needed an area that was big enough to play on.
A big table.
Yeah. Right. So et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You needed all these things. Now with needing only one box, and the board size has changed. They're going to play this Spearhead version of the game on a Warcry sized board, which is 30 inches by 22.4.
inches. Yep.
So
exactly. It's a quarter of a regular board size.
So, and that will be packaged in the launch box, I hear. A dual-sided game board. So, like I said, it's going to be super easy to get into. The launch box, the contents, actually, if we want to give you the basis of what is in it, it has some terrain, a dual-sided board, 2 armies, which is fantastic. Everything,
which is just going to be your Stormcast and your rats in the starter.
Maybe. I mean, the article, if you look at it, shows cities and flesh eaters on the photos. So who knows?
True.
I mean,
I don't know. I thought that. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That could be.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows which 2 armies are going to be, because they didn't specifically say.
I was assuming it was all coming in the regular starter box, but I guess that doesn't make any sense, does it?
So, likely, since they've pictured, you'll get cities and flesh eaters in the launch box for Spearhead, which does make a lot of sense, because these 2 armies already have an existing Spearhead branded box, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, and you'll get all of the war scrolls in the box, and the cards, which we'll talk about in a little bit too. They have a card system in Spearhead. So,
so good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very cool. It's pretty tactical still, even though it's played on a really small board, which I'm sure it's going to feel like you're right in someone's face from the get-go. But again, it's designed that way because it's designed to be played a full game of this within an hour, I think they said. So
it seems like they've been playing it a lot, and they play it at lunchtime at their at work and stuff. So I feel like people are banging out games. From what they talk, this game has been play tested. People love it, and from the rules that I've heard, especially with some of the cards that we're going to talk about in the next article, I mean, this game looks ridiculously good. I know you said that maybe not to play it, but I feel like this might be fun just to play.
Well, I mean,
every once in a while,
what I
just to
meant by
change
that
things up.
was like we're not going to go to a Spearhead tournament. We're going to go to an AoS tournament. But like if you're going to play, and this is
I'll tell you
perfect.
what.
Well, unless they have those events like on an off day,
Like at Adepticon, right? Like you
Right,
go
yeah.
and you have a Spearhead the first day, and then you
Yep.
play in your GT the next one. Yeah,
Oh
I'm in.
man, yeah,
I'd
yeah,
play
I
the
could do
Spearhead
that.
tournament.
I could do the shit out of that for sure.
Yeah.
As I said before, the existing Vanguard boxes that are out now, and the new Spearhead boxes will be the army boxes for this version of the game. They just show a couple examples here for the Seraphon, Slaves of Darkness, and Gits. If you already have these or you have the models that are in these, you are ready to play this game.
And I believe they're going to put the rules out online for that, or maybe they're
Yeah,
going to be in the starter.
I think
I'm not sure. They're going to be
that
available.
it's all going to be available free via PDFs. I think anyway, even if you don't buy the launch box for Spearhead, they should give you all of that. So let's talk about some differences in Spearhead. So some of the Spearhead boxes, they give examples here of the Stormcast one, I believe. But they have this new, to balance the boxes out, they use this thing called reinforcements keyword. And what this does, just so everyone's aware, is all of the units that would need a boost, I guess you would say, have this new icon,
like
which
the chaff units.
Yeah, like this
rats,
this
like
red recycle type of icon is for reinforcements. And the reinforcements rule states once per turn in your movement phase, you can call for the reinforcements. You pick a friendly reinforcement unit that has been destroyed. You set that identical replacement unit up on the battlefield wholly within friendly territory, wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge, and not in combat. Each reinforcement unit can only be replaced once. Replacement units cannot themselves be replaced. So, pretty cool mechanic, I think, especially for some of the launch boxes that have like just a lot of chaff, and it doesn't balance well with some elite type of Vanguard box. So you'll be able to bring your units back onto the board.
Yeah, so their example here is the reinforcements. They're going to, the clan rats will have this. And previously, or in the main game, clan rats won't have this ability. They'll have like a command and they'll have like crits. But you see there at the top right of the card there, it has the recycle or the reinforcements. It also has the keyword. So they lose their ability to do crits and they lose their command, but they gain the reinforcements. So you can build them with command, but they just won't have special rules. Kind of makes it a little simpler. And so, yeah, I think that's it's really cool that they're going to have the weird thing is they're going to have different cards. So if you're playing them in different games, you may mix them up. But I mean, like if you play enough,
I still think I think they said most of the War Scroll stays the same. Like the move and the health, the control, the save. The weapon stays the same with the same profile. Just you're gonna maybe lose abilities of the weapon.
like the crit auto wound. Is what the one that they're
so like there's gonna be some minor tweaks of War Scrolls. But again, they're all free via PDF, right? So you won't have to go out and get new War Scroll cards because you're playing the game in Spearhead versus 4.0.
Yeah, your regular game.
So the clan rats also it's kind of cool at the end of any turn they kept the thing where they bring D3 slain models back to a unit. So it's a clan rat thing as of old.
Yep.
So likely this will be still an ability they can use on like 4.0 regular AoS rules.
Yeah, I would assume.
So, anyways, that's how the reinforcements are going to work in Spearhead, and this is an example of a Spearhead War Scroll.
Card. Yeah.
The next
Go back up.
the next example is the so battle traits for Injusta and the Annihilators are going to work as a balancing mechanic. This is how some of the elite units are going to work. So, Injusta's Spearhead has Scions of the Storm. So Injusta and the Annihilators are not going to be set up during the deployment phase. Instead, from the third battle round onwards, they can use this ability. Okay, so you keep these guys off the board, and basically your other units are going to have to like survive long enough for these guys to come out of the sky. But in your movement phase from the third battle round on, you can set these units up anywhere on the battlefield more than 6 inches away from all enemies.
So they're going to get in right that turn. Theoretically, they're going to make that charge.
I mean, you're going to make a 6-inch charge with Injusta and her Annihilators. Pretty fantastic, because I assume they're probably pretty powerful units. That's why they're left off the board for 2 turns. But they'll come down.
It's only a 4-turn game.
Yeah, so they miss half the battle. And so they ought to come down and just start annihilating things. I would have
just
think.
crushing souls.
So, like I said, that's just another example of how they're going to balance some of the boxes out. So you may have some things that are basically in reserve for half the game that they get to come on later. Or you get this reinforcements ability for chaff units or whatever. So
I think that's kind of cool. Like they just make it so they know that the points or the units are different, strengths. So they just kind of make it so, okay, you just can't use that for half the game and it'll make it more fair. That's freaking awesome. I love that. I mean, I guess if I'm playing with that unit, I would kind of be sad because I'd want them to get in there and just crush souls. But I mean, it is what it is. And if it balances the game and makes it more fair, I think that's cool.
Well, if they did enough playtesting like they said they did, I don't think you have to worry so much about like your deployed force getting demolished before you can bring your other models on the board, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so another thing that's simplified inside of Spearhead is spellcasting, meaning there is none in the regular sense.
Spellcasting in the hero phase.
Yeah. So they because spellcasting is a modular rule set that doesn't exist in the core rules. It technically doesn't exist in Spearhead. However, you will still have wizards, and instead of picking from a spell lore, like you would in 4.0 spellcasting rules, you'll now just have an ability on a war scroll for the wizard. So basically, they'll have one spell unique to them, but it'll be an ability they get to use in the hero phase versus a spellcast. It'll still feel the same for new players because you're still going to roll the 2d6 like a spellcast. It's just an ability, so your opponent can't unbind it or interact with it. It's just gonna be a thing you do. So, in the example they show is the Spearhead War Scroll for the Magister on Disc of Tzeentch. And the specific thing we want to look at here is the ability in your hero phase is Bolt of Change, which normally would just be a spell, but in this case it's an ability.
Yeah.
You pick a visible enemy unit with an 18 of this, and you roll a 2d6 or casting roll. It literally says casting roll 2d6. So for new players, this will be like, okay, this is how you would do a spell. Roll the dice. On a 6-up, you inflict D3 mortals on the target. If any models were slain with this ability, you can pick a friendly Zangor's unit wholly within 18 inches of this unit and return one slain model to that Zangor's unit. Okay, that's the thing. You roll the 2d6, get a 6-up, you do the effect, right?
Yep, it's strong. I like it.
Yeah.
Easy, dumbed down, easy to teach. And then, when you get into a big game, then you're like, okay, well, remember when you did that? Now I get to try to stop it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Or you get choice of the spell you want to cast instead of just only having this one available to you.
Well, that as well.
Yeah.
As well.
So, pretty cool. I think this will speed up the game tremendously. I mean, even I don't have an army that has a ton of spells, but it's always like, you play that mind game with your opponent. Like, maybe I can fish out their unbinds if I cast in a weird order, or, you got all these choices to make. Here, it's just like, you do the thing. You don't have to worry about your opponent being able to stop you doing it. You just have to make the roll. So you just make the roll real fast and move on. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff in Spearhead's going to be like that, where it's like, where clearly they looked at every phase of the game and was like, how do we make this faster? How do we make this more efficient?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yep. So that's some of the basic stuff we have here on some of the Spearhead things that make stuff faster and whatever. We do have, it does say at the bottom of here, there's another driving force in the new game mode with 2 decks of cards included in the box set, with a twist for each round, and another one gives you ability to score battle tactics and use powerful command abilities. So we'll get into that because I think that's in the next article, I believe.
It is. It's tactics, commands, twists, and turns. You want to bringing it up? Yeah.
Yep, got it. So go ahead and lead us off with this one here.
So, under this one, they talked first about the battle tactics and commands, which is actually really interesting. Let's start with scoring in this game is going to be like the previous game, where you score 1 point for holding an objective, 1 for holding 2 or more objectives, and 1 additional point if you have more than your opponent. So in the new game, they've talked about it. You go to 2 points for everything, so you can get a score of 10. This one, they for whatever reason, they make it back to 1 point. But the cool thing is the tactics come from a deck. So you have a deck of 12 tactic cards. You draw 3 at the start of each battle round. And then at the start of each subsequent battle round, you can discard any number and draw back up to 3. Cool things about this is each card gives you a choice. So like you're going to have a choice between a battle tactic or using it to do like a command that you can use during the turn. And we'll have some examples in a minute. You can score up to all 3 of your battle tactics in your hand in a single turn. Yep. But if you do use it as a command, it just gets discarded. So if you scroll down just a little bit, we can get into the examples. In example 1, will be take the flanks, which would be your battle tactic. And that is completed at the end of the turn. If any units are within 3 inches, I believe it just says within, of each short battlefield edge. So the 2 short sides, if you have a unit within 3 inches on both of those, boom, you score the points. It doesn't say how many points they're worth. I assume 1. And then otherwise, if you don't want to use that, or if something comes up and you want to use the command, it's redeploy, as it is in the game right now. So you use it on a unit that's not in combat. That unit can move D6 inches, and it cannot cross into combat during that redeploy. It's just the ability to get away.
Yep.
Example 2 is Dracothian Dais, which you complete that one if you control the Dracothian objective at the end of the turn. I assume there's going to be multiple different types of objectives.
Yep.
I'm not, I don't know what that means.
But
I think it seems like that's the case.
I wanted to say that on the board there's going to be 2 printed objectives, or you get. They said something about printed objectives. I don't know if they're tokens that you place out, or they're just actually printed on the board somewhere, which is irrelevant. It's just like if you take over that one, you get the battle tactic.
Yeah. The cool thing here, the other, the push and pull is the command on this one is ridiculously good. It's called go to ground. So if you're getting shot at, you can use this to target a friendly unit that's being shot, and only unmodified hit rolls of 6 will hit you. However, you strike last if you're also in combat. But I mean, that's freaking ridiculously strong. Like you could be like somebody could be shooting you with whatever they got. I don't know what's in these vanguards.
I mean,
but I'm
KO,
sure there's a lot of pretty decent shooting.
Yeah,
It's
KO
all
has
shooting.
a Vanguard box.
Yeah, and so they're going to be shooting at you, and you're like, hold please.
Yeah, so you better have this card in your hand.
This.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean that's really freaking good. That's like really freaking good.
I think the idea behind
those
this
are a couple.
Yeah, the idea behind the cards is fantastic. That this is the tactical choices you get to make during the game, not so much like
Right.
having to position your army in such a way that you can score maximum points. This is how you get maximum points, right? So
Right.
you either take tactics that score you points, or you use the commands that help your army maybe defend against your opponent scoring points,
right,
or whatever, right? So, like for instance, what if, and I know these are all just 12 generic cards that everyone has, but what if one tactic says, pick a unit on the battlefield and kill it this turn, or something simple like that, and you're the KO army, and you go, I can do that in shooting, no problem. And then your opponent counters and goes, but wait,
not so fast.
I have the go to ground command, and the unit you just targeted is now only being able to be hit on 6s. So awesome. It's going to be pretty cool. We got a couple more examples here. I think Yep.
They got a third one. The battle tactic on this one is raid. You complete this if any of your friendly units are wholly within the enemy territory and not in combat. So, I mean, I don't know how they'll divide up the territory. It's probably half and half. It's hard to tell, but that seems like a pretty simple one to get. But then again, they give you this ridiculously good command, Steel Defense, which basically says friendly unit targeted by an enemy attack, ignore the rend of the attacks. Ignore the rend. Any attacks that target that unit.
Yeah, man.
Phase.
I
mean, that's like I want to score points, but I also want to keep my bros alive. Right. So, like, what are you gonna do? This is freaking. These are real decisions.
This is fantastic. Like, especially if somebody gets to your general or whatever, right? And in most Vanguard boxes, you only have one hero, right?
Yeah.
Likely. So you could just be like, whoa, okay, you're in combat with my hero. I play this command. You have no rend.
Yeah. And now this next one, also speaking of heroes, is really big. So the battle tactic is hold ground. More friendly units contesting the large terrain feature in your territory than enemy models contesting it. So I assume there's a large terrain feature that's going to be in each person's territory. And at that point, you're defending your own. If you have more people contesting it than your opponent, you score a point. Or the command, which is rise to the challenge. You pick a friendly hero, and that hero heals D6.
D6 healing on a hero is real strong.
You're getting smoked. Meh. I'm just gonna bring that bro back. I mean, that's strong. I love the decisions.
Yeah, I mean, both of these commands combined are fantastic for letting your hero never die.
Yeah. Or I mean, even so, Steel Defense. I mean, it's any friendly unit. So like, they charge into your unit, and your unit is like pivotal. It's holding that piece of terrain, and you need that to score those points. And you, boom, tie. Like, no, you're not going to hurt me because I'm immune to your rend. So, let's move on now, and we're going to talk about twists and underdogs. Reminder: the underdog is a rule that basically, if you're losing in a round, you're the underdog, so you'll get the advantage of whatever that is. It says in the article that the underdog and priority roles are both still in Spearhead, which is interesting when we get to the double turn. Actually, it's right now. So if you take the double turn, you don't get to draw battle tactics unless you are the underdog and you're losing by 5 points or more. So that's pretty cool. They still let you maybe, like, if you're just getting smoked, you could take that double turn. It's going to give you that double turn advantage, and you're going to still be able to get tactics. Yep. But if not, you just don't get to draw back up, and so you're just going to be stuck with whatever you had. Like, if you plan it right, though, you could have those 3 cards in your hand, not do anything with them, knowing that if you get the double turn, you're going to have those 3 cards. So there's some, decisions to make there too. So, yeah. And then go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say the same type of thing. Like, if you plan for it, like any good player will, that has to deal with double turns, you'll just be able to one, have a full hand of stuff anyway, or maybe you save the card you want to use on a double turn instead of playing it the round before or whatever. So,
or I'm not going to take that double turn because I don't have any cards in my hand. But if I have a full hand, I haven't used them, I'm going to take that double.
Right. Yeah.
So so that's kind of cool. So at the start of each round, you decide who's the underdog, so who's behind in points, and then you draw the twist card, and that's going to provide a bonus for the underdog. So there are 2 decks of 6 cards. Each one's themed around whichever side of the board you're using. So one side of the board is Aquishy, and the other one's Gyran. And so they have a couple examples of the twists for each one. The Gyran examples will show Grasping Vines. So the underdog picks an enemy unit. If there's no underdog, you roll off, and the winner picks an enemy unit. And that unit is ensnared. So until the end of the battle round, you have the movement characteristic of that unit. And they also roll 1 fewer die when making a charge roll. That's crazy. So you're rolling 1d6 on a lot of units to make a charge. I mean, you're just not making your charges on 1d6.
Yeah.
So that's going to really help you out if you're behind and somebody is trying to make a move to score some extra points. It's going to slow them down. If they're trying to make a charge roll to get in and do some damage and stuff, I mean, that's a pretty good ability. The other one in Gyran that they showed us is Take the Land. So each player scores an extra victory point at the end of their turn if there are more friendly models contesting the large terrain feature in enemy territory than enemy models. So the beginning part there works for both players. You score an extra victory point if you control the opponent's big terrain piece. In addition, the underdog adds 1-to-wound rolls for attacks made by friendly units that are contesting that large terrain feature, or either large terrain feature.
+1
so you're
wound
getting +1 to wound to hurt them. I mean, that's awesome.
+1 to wound turns out to be wickedly strong.
Wicked sweet. I mean,
I got access.
No commands, it seems like.
Well, right, and I just knowing that from the new Flesh Eater Court rules that I pretty regularly have access to +1 to wound, which makes everything of mine wounding on 2s is like
so good.
Wow, you're gonna pump through a lot of damage.
Yeah,
and like this one, I mean, that's pretty cool, especially for the underdog that says, okay, I have to go and do this thing. I'm gonna get I already know I'm getting +1 to wound rolls, right? So you could be all out attacked for pretty easily on 2s and 2s for most units, I would guess.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're going to have all out attack. That's what I was saying, because it seems like the commands are tied to the battle tactics. So there might be a command card that is an all out attack one. You know what I mean? A battle tactic card that gives you the option to all out attack. I'm not sure.
I guess we'll have to see, because I don't remember. Is all out attack a command that's issued in core rules? Because Spearhead has core rule set.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I
Yeah,
can't remember.
you're right. I'm not sure.
In any ways. I mean, like, it's just a bonus.
I mean, if it is there, then that's just I mean, which is strong. The Aquishy examples. So let the blood flow. Each player scores an extra victory point at the end of the turn for each unit that they destroyed this turn. So if you're taking off units, I mean, that's strong. Also, again, benefits both players. The underdog will pick one unit to be frenzied, and they get +1 to hit on all attacks made by that unit this round. So there's an example of a way to get +1 to hit. Really, again, just an amazing ability. Pluses to rolls in this game. I mean, adds essentially 16% chance to whatever your percent chance is to do anything, which is great. And then the other one is Wreathed in Smoke. The underdog will pick one objective on the battlefield. If there's not an underdog, this one, again, you'll roll off, and whoever wins that roll will choose one. And that objective is covered in smoke until the end of the battle round. Only unmodified hit rolls of 6 successfully hit for attacks that target the units that are contesting that objective. So, I mean, that's crazy too. I mean, you're like, I need to keep my guys alive on this bad boy. Boom. I'm now going to take that large objective in your territory. I'm going to score those, those bonus points, and I'm going to, be very difficult to hit if you are attacking me. So I love, I think these twists and everything are so cool.
Sure. I can see how this would lend its hand to the, for the example of the Stormcast box we looked at, where half your army doesn't come down until turn 3, but the other half has to live, right? So if you're behind in points after turn 1, being a Stormcast player, you may just use this and stand on an objective, and then be impossible to die.
Hit me on 6s, boys.
Right, and then that's turn 2, and then guess what happens in turn 3? Yndrasta and the boys come out of the sky. Yeah, so pretty cool little play there with that kind of thing. So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's what they've talked about here. As far as Spearhead goes, all these rules are really freaking cool. It seems really fun. So honestly, I really want to try some Spearhead games. I mean, obviously, we both have quite a few armies we could do it with.
Yep.
And just to try out the rules and see how fair it really is. I'm really excited to see. We can play like lots of games in a night. There was talk about, if the games are lasting an hour, you could do an entire 5-game tournament in one day, and it would take less time than, one day of a regular 3-game.
Oh, yeah. I wonder how that will work too, because we had discussed this before with like Nick and Adam. It's like, do Spearhead tournaments, is there a 2-day version of a Spearhead tournament? I don't know.
I don't see why you would do it. Unless you're doing more games than only 5.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like a GT style Spearhead event where you might play 8 games or something like that, or you do like,
that'd be sweet.
4 on day 1 and 4 on day 2, or whatever, like 2 games, and then you have a lunch break, then 2 more games, and you're still done by like early evening instead of late.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to start as early. You could start at like 10 or 11. Play a couple games.
That's great for married folk like you.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, just in general, like the time commitment sometimes for playing tournaments is kind of immense when you look at like, it takes up an entire weekend from morning till night, which leaves us old men pretty exhausted usually. But then
we got to go back to work the next day.
Yeah, so I mean, like if you have a Spearhead event and maybe you're running a 1-dayer and you play 5 games or play 3 games in the morning, or 2 games in the morning, take a lunch break, and then 3 games into the evening, you play a full 5 games in a day and get it over with.
That's pretty cool.
Or even, I mean, I'm just trying to think like at a new player perspective. like if you're not used to the time commitment for like a tournament, you could do a 3-round tournament at a store in a night,
Sure.
right? Like you
We could
start
all get together
4 or
on
5
our
o'clock.
regular night.
Yep.
Yep. Bring our freaking army and play like 3 games, each play each other once, and just have like a round robin
Yeah.
and just see how everybody does. I mean, that might be something we try.
Yeah.
Just
For
to
sure, I
see
think.
what it's like.
And that, like, again, would lend itself towards a positive new player experience.
Yeah, we can get some new people in there. Be like, hey, let's try this. I brought an extra army. Come in and
I mean, like,
play with us.
Sure, we could each bring 2 Spearhead armies apiece and just say, hey, anybody that wants to try this. Or, you know what, the other thing about Spearhead, I thought about this too, is it's going to be really fantastic for store owners. They can buy themselves a launch box, right?
Yep.
They can build the armies and keep them for the store, right? And all the store's got to do is go,
teach.
Yeah, we'll do teaching games, or if somebody wants to come in and try out the game when other people are playing, it's like, hey, we have these 2 armies that you can play. Go grab them off the shelf and try the game out. If you like the game,
Yep.
Look what we sell. We sell Spearhead boxes over here. You know what I mean? It's going to be fantastic for that.
Which one do you think's the coolest?
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially like our house games, he doesn't have a lot of room for freaking tons of models, but he can carry Spearhead.
Oh, sure.
Like boxes.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm certain he'll be able to get a hold of those, and like he won't have to have all the extra stuff that I would go to 5 different stores looking for. I mean, all he needs to carry is those Spearhead boxes, and then we'll run some Spearhead event or whatever and teach some kids how to play, and then they'll be like, all right, I want to order this, I want to order that, and he can deal with that.
Right.
But he could sell that. That's what the biggest thing with the game store where we play a lot is he just doesn't have the space or the inventory. But I mean, it would be easy for him to get a couple Spearhead boxes. So I think
for sure
that'll be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yep.
I think it'll be good for him.
Everything about Spearhead is 2 thumbs up from us, because if it gets more people into the game,
chef's kiss
at a reasonably discounted price, I think it'll be a pretty easy doorway to walk through for most new players. So that's for sure.
Yep. I love it. So I'm excited about it. The last thing that they put out this week was Path to Glory. We're going to skip that. It's not really a competitive type thing. It's another thing that we would love to talk about it. If people want to hear about it, you just let us know in the comments, and we will gladly do a Path to Glory focused show. I think some of the rules are really cool with what they're doing with it. I mean, I kind of like some Path to Glory. Me and Ethan play a little bit of, or we haven't actually had the opportunity because we're always practicing for tournaments and stuff. But we've talked about doing some Path to Glory stuff, and I think the rules that they made are pretty interesting. But I mean, in the interest of keeping this show in a reasonable amount of time, and we're at a little over 2 hours right now, I think we'll just save that and talk about that another time if people would like. That being said, I noticed that they said the full reveal for 4.0 will be May 16th in the US.
Yep.
So we will know all the rules by May 16th, and that's one day before the UK, who's getting it on May 17th. I think it says it right there at the end of the article. Yep.
Sure
and
does.
So I am fired up. We are days out, 11 days from knowing the full reveal on all the rules. So we'll be able to start, messing around, playing with our armies and trying out these new 4.0 rules in 11 more days.
That's going to be fantastic.
I cannot wait.
I'm shaking in my seat, just waiting for the day where we can get where we get all the rules, and then we can be like, okay, guess what we're doing now from now on. 4.0 rule games, testing out, learning, and Yeah. So stay
it's
tuned
like
for
in
that,
all new games.
because I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about. Maybe we'll do some faction focused shows. I'm sure we'll have to
We'll
do
probably
some
do
more.
some phase shows,
Yes.
different
Yeah.
phases.
Sure.
Probably, I think it'll be too long to do the whole rule book, but we could do phases.
Oh
or
yeah.
something. So,
Well, we'll break down some stuff and have a show about it, and so we can talk about it and review rules, review armies. All pretty cool things that we got coming down the pipe here. Looks like so.
yeah.
Other than that, I don't think we got anything else this week. So again, like, subscribe, and follow all the social medias, the Discord. Hell, hit the notification bell dingy thing on YouTube if you want it to
Never miss
notify
a
you.
show. Never
Yeah.
miss a show.
You shouldn't miss any of this crazy shitty
Polished
show we
turd.
have. Yeah, polished. That's
Polished
perfect.
turd content.
That's polished turd content. If you want to watch a show where you have to suffer through like 30 or 40 minutes at the beginning of bad audio, hit like.
We're your guys.
Yep.
There you are. Dell's stuck around. He stuck around for the show.
Fuck
Loving
yeah,
it.
boy. All right.
Loving it. And remember to leave us comments. We will respond to all your comments.
Yep.
We love to hear from you guys, see what you have to say about things, tell us how shitty we are. I know you haven't played, but I'm glad that you were here for us. I appreciate you giving us a shot, taking a listen, and hopefully give us some good feedback.
Yeah, I will tell you this: Spearhead's perfect for getting back into the game.
That's true. That's true, brother.
Just saying. So join us on a table sometime. That'd be fantastic. So, with nothing else to hit on this week, we will see you next Sunday. Should be an evening show next Sunday.
Yep, I believe I will be off and at home, so it should be an evening show.
All right, boys. Until next week. This old man gaming.